So this is a great way of doing that. One, de-escalates the situation, because again, you've said, yeah, all right, under duress, I'm going to comply. I've got my ID here. Give me a second, you know. Drops that back a scale, because they go from, oh, yeah, all right, he's actually going to give me his ID. All right.
Yeah.
And they lose that, he's actually going to comply. Well, we can't do that then, because he's complied.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's no breach.
Yeah.
And then when they do that, I was, all right, mate, look, fair's fair. Let's do your swap. You give me your paperwork, have a read of mine. And they'll go, what's this? Well, fellas, you've just been served. You're now on notice. I suggest you have a read. My fee schedule's attached. And if you wish to continue to do business with me, you've got a copy of my fee schedule.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be in touch, because I'd love to do business with you.
Just signed this liability waiver for $20 million, saying that if I did take this and I received any harmful effect, that you would pay me $20 million. And so if they don't agree or answer those questions or sign, then they are refusing. So now they're in dishonor and they lose.
And that's what some cops are doing. We've seen that.
Oh, some of them are just throwing it at you.
Yeah.
Here you go, mate. Well, technically it's littering.
Littering, right? That's a crime.
They can't just throw it at you. They've got to have proof of receipt of service.
Exactly, yeah.
Jab, take that. And you go, no, I'm not taking it. That's a refusal, and it's actually dishonorable in commerce. This is why we get tricked into doing things. We think we can just say a hard no or a hard yes, but those we generally, sometimes there's a place for both, but generally speaking, we want to avoid hard yeses and hard nos.
Remembering that we are dealing with contracts in commerce, because if I put this one on, I'm working for a police force, aren't I?
You're under contract to a private company.
That's right.
Whose allegiance is to the Crown and State.
That's right. I mean, this is working for a company that has an ABN, if you want to look it up. New South Wales Police, Victorian Police, Queensland Police, they all have ABNs, right?
They are the legal definition of a private company.
Well, there you go. So we're doing business. All right, let's do some business.
Well, let's not do some business. Let's see how we go.
I remember when we last spoke, you said the principles of natural law and health are the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just going to run through some different techniques, different ways of answering questions without answering questions. As Tom and I are both big fans of, conditional acceptance. We haven't said no, we haven't said yes, but we're then in control of the terms and conditions we're prepared to accept. And through doing this, we're just going to run through some different techniques of things to say, things to question them on, how to answer questions with questions, and how to dictate the terms and conditions of how the conversation goes. And of course, how to do it without being aggressive or belligerent.
Yeah, and we're doing that because we're in commerce, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about commerce and the contract. So we'll go into a little bit of that and explain how that works to everyone too. And
cool.
As we're not under contract, and then we can dictate the terms of the contract they're attempting to create.
Where's your mask?
I actually have an exemption, mate. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, right. Can I see it?
Well, it depends on who's asking to see my private medical information, mate. You haven't identified yourself. I'm not in the habit or the business of giving out my private personal details or my personal medical information to just anyone in the uniform.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm a police officer. I'm Constable Beard. I'm from the Beard District. So I need to see your exemption.
All right, now Constable Beard, do you have a first name so I know who I'm speaking with?
I don't have to give you that.
Okay, well, I'm going to need to see some sort of formal ID before I show you mine, because I'd really like to know who's asking. And I'd like you to verify that you actually are an officer, because for all I know, mate, you could have hired that outfit at the Halloween costume hire place. It's very convincing, but I'm not convinced. So I'd like to see some proper ID for you to verify actually who you say. Have you got a business card with some indemnity insurance, any sort of details with the actual name and rank on it?
Well, mate, we can get to that. But listen, I'm a police officer. I've given you everything that I've needed to give you. Now, you're not wearing a mask. You've told me you have an exemption. I just need to see it. If you don't show it to me, it's a $1,000 fine. Okay,
now, before we get to showing you my exemption, I actually do have a legitimate one for legitimate medical reasons, which I'm not comfortable disclosing due to my privacy, and as far as I'm aware that those rights are protected under the Privacy Act. So I'm not real comfortable in sharing that with you, especially when I haven't seen any ID from you to know who you are. All I've got is you wearing a fancy outfit and your word.
So you're refusing to show me your exemption?
Oh, no, I'm happy to show the exemption. I just want to see some details to know who I'm showing it to.
All right, I'm happy to show you that. Here's my credentials.
Thank you very much.
Great. So where's your exemption?
Right, before we get to my exemption, which I am, again, I'm happy to show you, is your body-worn camera actually activated?
Yeah, it's activated, yep, I'm recording.
So we're recording all of this for evidence? Oh, that's fantastic then, mate, thank you. Now, can I ask, under what laws are you purporting that you have the right to access my private medical information before I show it to you?
The public health order, it's very clear, okay? You've got to be wearing a mask, you should probably know that. Now I'm here to enforce that, okay? So I'm going to need to see either you put on a mask or I'm going to need to see your medical exemption. It's one or the other. If not, if you refuse to give me your name and address, it can be an arrest.
Oh, well, happy to give you name and address and my details. I just want to confirm a couple of things. You're claiming that I'm compelled to do this under the public health order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, well, I'm not in receipt of a public health order. So
Yeah,
how
I'm telling it to you now. I'm reading it to you. It says that you have to present your name or address when asked by a police officer, and you have to be able to provide a legitimate medical certificate.
I can provide a legitimate medical certificate, that's not a problem. But the problem is it says there on there that you have to provide, but my name's not you. We haven't identified me yet, and I don't see my name on your public health order that you're reading from.
Okay, but like I said, this is the public health order, all right? Like, I'm just doing my job, okay? Just doing my job here, and I need you to be able to either identify yourself and provide a medical certificate, or I'm going to have to write you a fine. It's one or the other.
All right, well, look, happy to identify myself, which this is the first time you've asked me to do so, so I'm happy to comply with that one as well and let you know as to who and what I choose to identify as. That's not a problem. But again, the public health order, I'm not in receipt of one with my name on it. And are you authorised to issue public health orders?
So now he's putting me in a difficult position because I can't really lie about that, can I? So let's just say what a police officer is probably going to do, and they're going to just pull a Swifty on you, right? So, yep, that's exactly what I can do.
All right, so you're an authorised delegate delegated to have such powers to issue public health orders?
Yeah, I am. That's what it says here, and that's what I'm doing.
All right, fantastic. Do you have your instrument of delegation handy?
Mate, I've read out to you what I need to read out to you, okay? It's either you're going to comply or it's going to be an arrest, one or the other, you pick.
Oh, again, mate, I'm happy to comply. I'm just trying to ascertain where we both stand here at the moment and establish some form of standing before we go down that road. So at no point have I refused to comply. I've said I'm happy to comply with everything. Just needed some details first to know what my obligations are that I'm required to comply with, which you haven't really given me yet, mate. So I'm a little bit confused here as to where we both stand on this one. Is I'm not in receipt of a public health order. You're telling me you're the authorised delegate, but you don't have your instrument of delegation handy to verify that. I'm a little confused here as to where you stand, where your authority is coming from without seeing your instrument of delegation, which by the way, without providing, can carry a 2-year jail term for you guys for not providing that upon request. Just for your information, mate, I'm trying to look out for you here so you don't get yourself in trouble.
Oh, right, are you? Okay, thanks. That's nice of you.
So that's actually under the Crimes Act if you wanted to look that one up. That's just to cover your ass. I know you're trying to look out for us and the community, keep us safe, mate. I'm trying to return the favour and keep you out of the line of fire as well. So just a little bit of information for yourself there on how the Commonwealth laws work. That's a serious offence against the Commonwealth.
Right, okay. Well, listen, I'm going to give you a warning, okay? But if you're asked again, and did you notice as well that when you asked me questions, I just came back with the directive says this, I didn't answer your question. So
Yep.
Will a police officer usually answer questions, or are they going to do what I did and be trained not to answer questions?
Look, generally speaking, they're trained not to answer and refer to the Act or the legislation. And that's when we just keep asking questions about it.
Yeah. So even though I did that and I didn't answer your questions and I came straight back to my iPad, which is what they basically refer to now, what is it that you did? How did you handle that and not allow me to take you out of what you were doing?
Well, because when we did that, I just respond with another question. We ask for more information. We ask for further and better particulars in a way, further information, further proof of claim. Okay, that one didn't work, we'll try this question. That question didn't work, we'll throw another question at you. And at no point in time did I refuse to comply. The whole way through, mate, happy to identify myself, happy to show the exemption if I have to. Just want to ask first.
And that's a big thing, right? Because we see a lot of people, they might have either filmed their interaction or you hear about it. And at no stage am I seeing people hold their position, which is just coming back to that original question like you did. They will make claims, right? They'll say, I don't have to show you that. It's what you hear a lot, right?
Yep.
And why is that not the right thing to do?
Well, because you've got to establish a standing first before we get into, man, woman, living, or any of that sort of stuff. And I have rights. We've got to establish our standing first. And to do that, for them to even question us or engage with us, the trick is to get them to establish their standing first. Because if they're claiming they have the position of authority, prove it. So these are some subtle questions we can go through and ask them to prove their position of authority before we're apparently obliged to respond to that so-called authority or claim of.
Exactly. You can
If
make
you can,
jokes.
you can take the piss and joke with them. If you can get them to crack a smile, but it loses the aggression, yeah? And quite often, especially around here, that hippie folk and sovereign citizens and all this other nonsense they want to call us all, you can take the piss out of yourself and get them to have a laugh at that. It'll knock the aggression out of them straight away.
As we know around here, some of our local cops are pretty good.
Yep.
And then they bring in the out-of-towners as the enforcers.
Yeah, because they're not local. They don't have the rapport with any of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely unscripted. Tom and I have no idea what the other one's going to say here.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a good test and it's nice to keep yourselves on your toes. And guys, if you're doing this and you've got mates, practice this stuff. get together with a couple of mates and practice.
Yeah, it's so important. Role play is probably, I mean, when we do workshops, right, you could probably do 10 hours of being lectured, and then 5 minutes of role play will teach you more than that 10 hours of.
It's a fantastic High Court case done back in 1990, which was called George versus Rocket, where that was determined that you cannot do this sort of stuff based on reasonable grounds of belief without first the facts and evidence being provided. Now, unless you suddenly have authority above that of the High Court rulings, reasonable grounds of belief isn't going to fly. So again, before I hand over my information, can I please see some formal ID, business card, something that verifies you're who you claim to be, and then I'm happy to show you my ID and my exemption if need be as well.
All right, I'm pretty well on the ropes now. I think let's look at what happened. There's a few things that went down there that you did everything that I'm not seeing other people do at the moment, which is anytime I give you a direction or I ask you a question, at no stage are you refusing or not even acknowledging what I've said. You're acknowledging it and you're just stepping to one side.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. We can absolutely do that. You're actually telling me you're going to do it. So from a man-to-man perspective, forget cops, forget laws. From a man-to-man perspective, you're not being belligerent to me. You're not disrespecting me. Forget laws, you're not disrespecting me as a man, right? Because you're not just ignoring me or blowing me off. So straight away, my defenses, my ego's not getting up and up.
Yeah, you're not triggered.
I'm not triggered because I've got nothing to defend because you're not triggering
I'm
me.
not attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really important. I don't know if people are picking up on that, but it's super important to, I mean, we're both friends with various current and ex-police officers, and a lot of them will tell you, which is really good advice, that you've got to pass the attitude test. If you don't pass that straight away, it doesn't really matter how gifted you are with your gab, you've already got them on the back foot, right? So they're already like fishing for their cuss.
Yeah.
Because you're just a troublemaker. But while you're interacting with me in a pleasant and polite way, and you're respecting me because you're saying you'll do something, yeah, we can definitely get to that. My defenses are just like, whoosh.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, I'm not giving you that, my defenses go,
Yeah, you can't be standing there going like this at them. It's never going
where's
to
my
work.
cuffs,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a way, look, it's to be polite and hold your position. And as you're saying, Tom, at no point did I argue with you. At no point did I go, screw you, I'm not doing that. Or I know my rights, I'm a living man. Haven't even touched on any of that yet. We haven't needed to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be just as simple to just hold your position and just ask questions.
Yeah.
And at no point did I argue, refuse to comply, or get into any sort of aggressive, belligerent type of dialogue. Very calm, very polite. Yeah, mate, look, I'm more than happy to comply. Let me just ask, again, the conditional acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
And we try and do it very subtly so that they don't see it as an attack or an affront. They don't need to go on the defensive then.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to defend against. I'm not on the attack. I'm
But
just
you're
asking
also
questions.
not defensive. So you're not getting from a place of disempowerment starting to be in any way aggro or defensive in general. And that's
there's
why
nothing
you're
to
calm.
defend against.
That's right.
And this is from the martial art world. Instead of doing all the fancy blocks, what's wrong with getting out of the way? We don't need to do all these fancy defensive techniques if you're out of the line of fire. If you're not in the line of fire, you're not taking damage, whether that's verbally or someone swinging. Doesn't matter. If we're not in the line of fire, we're not taking damage. Mm-hmm. And that's an important way to sidestep what they're asking, and we can do that by asking them better questions.
Yeah.
And as I always say to people, look, if we're not getting the right answers, it's because we're not asking the right questions. So if we want better answers, we've got to ask better questions.
So a refusal in commerce is dishonourable, and so is silence.
His silence will be taken as assent, and you just lost your assets. So the best person to protect your estate is yourself. But you've got to know how to do that. And simply, Your Honour, I'm only the trustee here. That trust is a separate entity.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, mate.
Yeah, look, you're not wearing a mask. What's the story?
I've actually got a medical exemption, mate. I cannot wear one for medical purposes.
Okay, I need to see that.
All right, happy to show it to you, mate. But can I just ask, who's asking?
Well, I'm Constable Beard. I'm from the Beard District. Now, you're not wearing a mask, okay? What's the story? You just told me you got an exemption. I need to see that.
All right, I do have an exemption, mate. Happy to show it to you. Some sort of formal ID, just so I know who I'm speaking to properly.
Well, I've given you everything that I'm required to give you. Now, I'm going to need your name and address.
Happy to give you that, mate, but I'm not in the habit of handing over my personal private details.
Well, you're going to need to. If you don't give me your information, Mate, if you don't give me your information, it'll be an arrest, okay?
I'm happy to give you the information. No way am I refusing to,
Okay, good.
to do that. I'd like some of your information so I know
Yep.
who I'm giving it to, that's all.
Yep, sure. You've asked me, and I've given you everything that I'm required to give you.
So-
Now I need your name and address.
All right, do you have a business card or indemnity insurance details, a badge number or something?
I don't need to give you any of that.
Identification
It's 10104. There you go. It's on my badge. You can read that. All right. Don't know if there's anything wrong with your eyes, but that's all I'm required to give you. I've told you who I am and where I'm from. Now I need your name and address.
All right, so you just need me to identify myself.
I need you to identify
All
yourself.
right, fantastic. Well, I identify as a toaster, mate.
Mate, are you being smartass?
No, I'm not being a smart ass. See, in today's day and age of political correctness, you guys recognise the other 300 genders, and it would be a gross act of discrimination not to recognise my right to identify as a toaster.
All right.
Sometimes it's good to throw something from left field at them, guys like that, because they don't know how to deal with it.
That's pretty funny because honestly, you can't argue with that. But let's get back into character.
Yeah.
All right, mate, you're being a smartass, all right? I need your name and address. If you don't give it to me, I'm going to arrest you. You please yourself, all right? It's one or the other.
Okay, my name and address is very different to what I choose to identify as. So can we just agree with our political correctness that I have the right to choose to identify as a
You
toaster?
can do whatever you like, mate, but I need your name and I need your address. Otherwise, I'll arrest you.
All right, so we have an agreement then that I'm a toaster.
No, mate, look, okay. I'm going to give you one more chance and then it's arrest, all right? I'm not playing this game. I don't have to waste my time here. What's your name?
All right, you can call me ZEV. That's the name that I've been known to answer to.
All right, great. What's your last name?
Last name is Freeman,
Great. And your address?
and my address, I'm kind of in between due to COVID at the moment, mate, so I don't have an actual
Well, what's the one that's on your license?
be PO box I can give you to send some correspondence.
What's
to.
your PO box?
PO box 100
Yep.
in Beardsville.
All right, Beardsville. Great. All right, now I'm going to send you an infringement because at the moment you're going against a health order, okay? You have not identified yourself properly to my satisfaction.
I've just identified myself
not to my
properly, mate.
satisfaction.
You've got
Now-
my name, you've got my address, and I've informed you that I identify as a toaster because I have the right to do so.
Well, look, I've got all that written down, okay? But at this stage, you're also not showing me a medical exemption. So that's why you're going to get an infringement.
Okay, so the infringement is for a breach of the public health orders.
Yeah,
Right, but I'm not in receipt of a public health order to be in breach of.
that's not my problem. I've told you.
But how can
I'm
I
the police officer. I'm telling you what the public health order is. You've got to be wearing a mask. You've got to either show an exemption or a stat dec. Otherwise, it's a
I'm
fine.
happy to show you that, mate. Before I show you my private medical information, I'm just curious how I can be in breach of something I'm not in receipt of.
Well, you can tell that to a magistrate. All right, I'm going to give you a fine, all right? It's an infringement today. It's $1,000. Now, you can tell that to a magistrate. I don't really care, all right? But you'll be receiving that in the mail.
So are you actually authorised to hand out fines for breach of orders that I'm not in receipt
I am.
of? This is under the Public Health Act, correct?
It is.
Right, are you familiar with Section 62 of the Public Health Act?
I'm sure it's there in the order. You can read it all you like.
Okay, so the orders are made under Section 7 by Mr Brad Hazard here in New South Wales, which is in direct conflict with Section 62, stating I must be in receipt of an order with my name on it, my address, the terms and grounds for the order, and the expiry date, which cannot be more than 28 days. Now, I'm not in receipt of any of this information. You haven't afforded me that information either. So
Yeah, well, that's not my job here. Look, I've done everything I've required to do, okay? So you can tell that to a magistrate. You'll be issued the fine. You've got plenty of options. It'll be on the back. You can take it to a court. You can appeal it. You can do whatever you like. You can pay it. That's totally up
So
to you.
are
all
you
right?
aware that the law you're purporting to uphold here, you're actually in breach of by doing this without me being in receipt of an order?
That's not my understanding.
It's not. So where does your understanding of that come from?
That comes from the public health order. As I told you, I've done my job, all right?
And
to
can
the
I
best
ask
of my
which
knowledge.
section of the public health order does this come from?
Well, I'll find it for you.
All right, if you want to have a look, mate, have a look on your iPad there and find me the appropriate section. Now, just while you're looking that up, I'd just like for your own benefit, mate, to cover your ass for liability purposes. If we look through our Commonwealth legislation, being that of the Biosecurity Act, Sections 7 and 8 of the Commonwealth actually states that state laws, especially when it comes to biosecurity risks, must be running concurrent with the Commonwealth law being that of the Biosecurity Act. Were you aware of this?
Mate, I'm not answering these sorts of questions, all right?
So I'll take that as you're unaware then. Now, because they're not concurrent, the Biosecurity Act being Commonwealth, which clearly overrides the state, actually excludes state law from being able to be applied if it's not working in concurrence with Commonwealth law and legislation. What you're actually doing is unconstitutional and in breach of Commonwealth law. Are you aware of the trouble that you could be in, way more than the $1,000 fine you're offering me, for being in breach of Commonwealth law?
Well, Zev, this is going to come out to you in the mail, all right? Now, all of what you just said, I don't know anything about that. Now, I've just put it here under section 17.1, and mate, if you've got any issues with that, you can take it up with the magistrate, all right?
All right, mate. Well, look, if you can send it out to me in the mail along with the summons to go to court, because I'm not accepting your paperwork today, I'm not under contract to Crown Estate like you are, and I'm not consenting or agreeing to doing any business with you today either. So instead of just sending me an offer to contract, sorry, you boys call it a fine, you can send me a summons to court, and you can argue before the magistrate with your right to issue such unlawful orders and directions, which you're not authorised to do, and you can argue with your right to do business with me before a court of competent jurisdiction. So I'll expect a summons in the mail for court rather than an actual fine, because I cannot accept that.
All right. So,
Point being, equity was brought in when common law was not giving the average man on the street his remedy, because it costs money to run a trial. And if there's no case law precedent to support whatever's going on for him or her, then he can't get a remedy. So then equity was brought in, and equity just simply says what is fair, what is just, and what is equitable. So people twist and distort that. However, what it means is that if you're a pauper and you've got a fine for $10,000 and you can never possibly pay it, but you've got 2 coffee beans in your pocket and you say, look, I understand that perhaps I'd have a debt to pay here, but I absolutely can't pay $10,000. I mean, I'm never going to have that in my lifetime. But what I have here in my pocket is 2 coffee beans, and I'd like to offer that. I'd like to offer that in good faith. In good faith, I'd like to offer my 2 coffee beans that I have. Now, if the other receiving party refuses that, they're in dishonor, because it's up to them to take into account somebody's equitable circumstances. Like, we're never going to get 10 grand out of this guy. And in good faith, he is giving us an offer. He's trying to meet us. So therefore, it's actually in our best interest to accept and make it honorable, not refuse and make it dishonorable. So that's where equity works in our favor. And while that might sound like an extreme example, that's actually happened in court, where somebody's emptied coffee beans out of their pocket and the judge says to the other party, well, you want to take that or not? And the other party's just like, geez, I suppose, okay. And then bang, there goes a debt, you know?
All right, mate, you're cruising around markets without a mask on. Going to need some formal identification, and you're going to issue an infringement. You got some sort of a reason for not wearing a mask or being out in public?
who are you?
Officer Beard from Beardsville.
Yeah, right. Okay. I don't answer questions, Officer Beard. Now, are you under any kind of duress? Do you need my assistance?
No emergency.
Right, well, I've done my duty of care. Thanks very much, but I don't answer questions. See you later.
You don't have to answer any questions, but you are going to have to provide some ID. You do need to formally identify yourself, or we.
Yeah, I've told you I don't answer any questions.
You don't have to answer questions, but I do need to see some ID so we can write you an infringement.
And what would that be for?
That would be for not wearing a mask. And if you don't show me some ID, we are going to place you under arrest. I've given you.
So you're a police officer?
Correct. I've given you a directive and a warning of what will happen if you
don't.
All right.
Well, I'll comply. Hey, listen. Get one thing straight. I'm not refusing anything. Okay. But you told me you're a police officer. Can I see some identification?
Look, there's my badge, my uniform.
Yeah, I didn't ask for that. I asked for formal identification, all right? That's the second time I've asked you. Do you have some formal identification?
Look, I've got a card on me with my name on it as a business card. You can keep a copy of that.
Yeah, I'm going to need your formal ID as well.
That is my formal ID, mate. I'm wearing my formal ID.
So you're telling me a business card is formal ID these days, is it?
Correct.
So if you ask me for my ID and I give you a business card, you're going to accept that, aren't you?
Well, no, I need photo ID from you.
Okay, so I need the same from you.
All right, here's my badge.
Great. Thanks, Constable Beard. Right, now I've established you're not personating a police officer. That's good. Now, I've asked you, I'm not committing a crime here, am I? Am I under arrest?
As yet, no, but you are being detained for the purposes of identification.
So I'm being detained?
Correct.
All right, but I'm not under arrest?
At the moment, no, but if I don't get some ID in the next 30 seconds, you will be under arrest.
Yeah, I've told you, hey, look, I'm not refusing anything. I'm just establishing why you're asking. Now, it appears to me that you're detaining me for no reason right now. Now, what cause do you have for needing me to identify myself?
Well, you've been given a direction and a warning of failure to comply, which is under our police powers and responsibilities, under our legislation that we're bound by, and
you can provide that for me now. I'm not refusing anything as long as this is all legit.
You can look all this stuff up online, mate. It's all there.
I'm sure I can, but I'm asking you.
Well,
what law compels me to look up a website? Now I'm asking you.
That's for you. This
is the third time I'm asking you now. I need you to provide that. I'm not refusing anything.
Well, mate,
I need you to provide.
I'm not providing anything because I'm not obligated to perform.
Well, then I'm sure we're done here, then, aren't we?
Well, we're not done.
If you're not obligated to do that, how am I obligated to do what you're asking? Now, either provide a source of authority, or we're done here. That's as simple as that.
Public Health Act is what we're authorised under.
Yeah, and what section?
Last time I'm going to ask you, mate, have you got some ID on you or not?
Well, I've told you, I'm not refusing. I'm going to show ID as long as I'm required to do so.
Well, let's have the ID or I'm going to place you under arrest. I'm sick of asking.
All right, sure. Well, we can do that.
Let's have the ID. Let's have it now, otherwise you're under arrest.
I'm going to give this to you under the condition that as long as you're not doing anything unlawful, then that's fine. But if you are, all right, I'm about to show you. Just hold your horses. I'm about to show you my ID. Now, this is only under duress because I believe you're doing something wrong, and I'm going to follow this up afterwards. Is that okay with you?
That's fine, mate. We're
Great.
officers of the law.
Right,
we're
great. Here's my ID.
Thank you very much. Just take a photo of that on my little iPad. You can have that back.
Thank you. All right.
And,
So why were you making it so difficult for me to get your ID?
Oh, because we don't like giving out our personal information.
Well, neither do I. And I told you I don't answer questions. I'm only doing this under duress. So are you acting under your code of conduct right now?
Correct. Yes, we are.
Great. So what place do you have to put me under such duress and threaten me? Do you understand how anxious you're making me right now?
Well, because you're not wearing a mask, you're out in public, mate.
Do you think that maybe it's because I might have anxiety and you're making it worse right now?
Well, do you have anxiety?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know, mate. You haven't shown me.
Well, why are you trying to put me under duress? Why would you not assume that I do have anxiety and you treat me accordingly? You're not required to treat people with respect. Are you not a public servant?
So is your anxiety the reason why you're out in public not wearing a mask?
Mate,
And do you have an exemption for not wearing one?
Well, that's my private medical information, is it not? Are you a qualified medical officer? Because if you're not, hey, listen, look, let's just get one thing straight. As I told you, I'm not trying to be belligerent here, all right? But I do have an issue with being accosted by people like yourself.
I'm not accosting you, mate.
Well, I feel accosted, all right? I don't think you can argue my experience. Now, I feel accosted. Now, I'm going to tell you that's my private medical information. If you're authorised to have it, absolutely. If I'm obliged by law to give it to you, I
According
will.
to the Health Minister, we've all been granted sweeping powers as emergency officers, as police officers.
And is the Health Minister a qualified medical professional? Look, it's my understanding
Well, he's
that
made the health orders to which we have to comply with, and part of our compliance is if you're saying you're exempt, I need to see the exemption or proof. Now, you either got to have a stat deck or a copy of your medical exemption.
Well, for your information, I do carry a stat deck with me, all right? But the thing is, it's got my medical information on it. So my question is, are you authorised to see my medical information? Because my understanding is that's private. So I'm happy to comply.
I just need to see it to verify it. We won't take a photo of it or record it to respect your privacy, but I need to personally verify that you're actually exempt from wearing a mask.
It's funny you mention privacy because it's my understanding that I have the right to privacy, don't I?
Well, you do, mate. I'm not recording it. I just need to see it.
Yeah, but seeing it is recording it. You are looking at it. That's my private medical information. Look, I'm not refusing to give it to you either. Let's get that straight. But I just want to know, because I am going to follow this up afterwards. If you're telling me porkies right now, I really won't take...
Mate, we're required to see it. That's the public health orders.
And you can't tell me that it applies to me, right?
It applies to everyone.
But am I everyone? We've been through this.
No, well, you're Tom. We've just got your ID, and that applies to you as well because you're in New South Wales.
But, so I'm named in that public health order, am I?
No, we have the public health orders to enforce this. So it's my job.
You're not making much sense to me. Look, I don't want any trouble
Well, mate,
because...
I'm just trying to do my job, and you're making it bloody difficult. So,
well, I'm just trying to reserve my rights, that's all.
Deck, or I'm going to place you under arrest for telling me, porkies, that you're exempt when you're not, and if you can't prove it.
Yeah, as I said, I'll comply. I want to make that very clear.
Let's see the exemption then, mate. Otherwise, I'm putting you under arrest.
Absolutely. But it's on the condition that I'm following this up afterwards, all right?
You can follow it up afterwards,
but
mate. I won't take a photo of it. It's just for me to personally verify.
Great. And then if it turns out you're wrong, just so that you know, I don't need your agreement to this, but I'm going to prosecute you, right? I'm going to hold you liable for this.
I'm a police officer, mate. We're never wrong.
Yeah, well, so you say. But it's my understanding that if you are wrong, I can hold you liable, okay? So along with that business card...
You take it up with the courts.
Yep.
I just need to see the exemption of the stat
I'm just going to hand you this now. That's my stat deck. Now, what I need now on your business card here is I'm going to need your indemnity insurance information. What's that? What's your number?
We don't give that out, mate. You can chase that up with the
So
station.
you're refusing to give it to me?
Oh, you can get that from the Sarge, mate.
No, it sounds like you're refusing. So I'm going to ask you another time, can I have your indemnity insurance number? Now, you're working in a public capacity.
You can have that, mate, but you get it from the Sarge at the cop shop, not from me.
I'm asking you. So for the third and final time, can I have your indemnity insurance information, or are you refusing?
No, you can have it, just I can't give it to you now because I don't have those details.
So you're
on
refusing?
Me. No, I'm not
All right,
refusing.
You're refusing, so that's going in my notes, right? That's on record.
You can put in an FOI request for that, mate. Not my problem.
Yep, sure. But as I said, that's not my responsibility, is it? You're the one telling me you have authority and you're not giving it to me. All right? You're not giving me your sources. You've told me I have to look it up. I've asked for your indemnity insurer number. Now, I'm not trying to be difficult. I do respect you got a job to do, but I don't understand why I'm not allowed to ask questions and ask very simple particulars.
You can ask as many questions as you like.
And you're refusing to answer them.
We're not obliged to answer them.
I think we're done here. Look, you can send out anything you like, as I said.
Look, mate, you verified that you're exempt. We've got your details. If we need to send you any infringements, we'll send it to the address on your licence.
Great.
And go and put a bloody mask on and have a nice day, huh?
Great. See ya.
All right, see ya.
So, I mean, I could have been more polite at the end. I was going to say, anyway, they can go any number of ways, but... So,
just to explain to everyone here too what Tom's doing there, he's holding his position. Didn't buckle at the point where, all right, I'm going to be arrested, fine, stuff it. I'll show you the ID. I'll show you the exemption. Very important thing you did there. You mentioned you're only doing it under duress. You mentioned the anxiety and that you're being intimidated. Repeatedly asked them for proof of claim to establish their standing and position of so-called authority as well, which obviously I can't do because we don't have it. So it puts them in a very, again, with the body-worn camera on, all this is being recorded. it doesn't look good for them if it goes to court that you've asked these questions for verification of proof of claim, to verify their position of authority and or standing.
Yep.
And they haven't done so. They've just fobbed you. Yeah, take it up with the Sarge, mate. You take it
Yeah.
up with the courts. It's not my problem. Don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
And they'll fob you off a lot. Like
Yeah.
you said, oh, you can get that through FOI, you can get it from the sergeant.
Yeah,
or you can get
I'm not doing it for you. So
Yeah.
this is the attitude that we often get, which is like, oh yeah, you contact the cop shop and speak to the Sarge. He'll fit you in. The Sarge will probably tell you to bugger off as well.
Yeah.
But it's just a way of the opposite. What they do is they flip it off. Well, mate, that's not my concern or problem or business.
Yeah.
You take it up with higher up the chain.
And what I'll usually do is I'll just say, well, look, my time's not free, so I'm happy to call around, but that's on the clock, all right?
Yeah.
So, and then I won't even wait for your agreement. I'll just,
Yeah.
by you not rebutting it or whatever,
One of the other good ones too is, all right, fellas, look, tell you what we'll do. You're going to hand me an infringement, no, that's fine, but look, I've got some paperwork here I need you to look at.
yeah,
Let's do a swap.
that's if you're carrying it, which you do.
I carry
And,
a heap of
yeah.
it with me for such a case. So if you've got your paperwork on you guys, and everyone, carry the stuff around with you. And then when they do that, I was all right, mate, look, fair's fair, let's do your swap. You give me your paperwork, have a read of mine, and they'll go, what's this? Well, fellas, you've just been served, you're now on notice. I suggest you have a read. My fee schedule's attached, and if you wish to continue to do business with me, you've got a copy of my fee schedule.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be in touch, because I'd love to do business with you.
Yeah.
And just leave it at that.
Yeah. And then at the very start, I started with, yeah, well, look, I don't answer questions. And I said
Yeah.
that twice, but you held your position. And this is what will happen to people. That's why I didn't push that any further.
Well, that's where you do. If you're doing that with the police too, they'll find that sometimes they'll stop asking questions, and they'll start giving orders and directions, and warning you of failure to comply, mate. I've
Yeah.
given you an order or a direction.
That's right.
If you don't comply, I'm going to arrest you.
That's right.
So there's the directive and the warning. So it sort of covers them, and this is the sort of sneaky tricks
Exactly.
that they do, which is what I said to you, mate. If you're not going to comply, I'm going to arrest you. Yeah, all right, hang on, I'll give you my ID. Just settle down. So this is a great way of doing that. One, de-escalates the situation, because again, you've said, yeah, all right, under duress, I'm going to comply. I've got my ID here. Give me a second, you know. Drops that back a scale, because they go
Yeah.
from, oh, yeah, all right, he's actually going to give me his ID. All right.
Yeah.
And they lose that, he's actually going to comply. Well,
Yeah.
we can't do that then, because he's complied.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's no breach.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing to point out to people too. They'll try and trick you with stuff like that. When you say you don't answer questions, they'll start giving directions and orders
Exactly.
instead of asking questions.
Yeah, and then I will actually sometimes say, I'll say, well, look, I don't follow orders. And they'll say, well, if you don't, we'll arrest you. And I'll say, great, so you've got a source of authority to issue orders, right? And what's that? And they'll go down that road. But for a lot of people, you know, that's a little bit, it's not just learning it either, right? It's having the presence of mind, the centeredness within yourself to be able to deliver under any circumstance. And that's what takes a little bit of time.
It's just practice.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So practice with your mates, guys. Get together like Tom and I have done, and do some practice with each other and see how you go. And if you're good mates with each other, look, throw some curveballs at each other.
Yeah.
Throw some shit from left field at each other. See how they respond. Because sometimes we do get some crafty police officers who are very quick and pretty sharp up here. Granted, those are rather rare in my experience, but there are a few of them getting around.
Yeah.
And they can be pretty quick to throw shit at you.
Especially
as
if
well.
they're veterans, especially if they've been on it for a while, because they've kind of seen everything. That's why I said to you in our role play, you one of these sovereign citizen, you were one of these common law people, because that gets around the police and they know what to look out for. And the other thing that I did though in this role play, which I think is important for people to know you can do, is I was talking over you.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking over necessarily when you spoke to me, but when I was making a point, I didn't let you interrupt,
you
and
kept going.
but I made it firmer as you tried to.
Yep.
Because, and it works the same in court, right? If you have the floor, you have the floor.
You've got to be a bit more assertive. Now,
Yeah.
it depends on the magistrate, because when a
does.
few of them yell at me, you're quiet when I speak, you know? So
Yeah.
you've got to test that one out, guys, and
Yeah.
feel it. And quite often the police will let you go for a bit and they go, all right, mate, you've had your chance to talk, now it's
Yeah.
my turn, shut up and listen to me. And then the police will start relaying the law back
And
at you.
that's really important, because what some people can do is they'll say their thing and the cop will just sit there, and then it's kind of like, yep, are you done? It's like, have you gassed yourself out? Have you thrown every punch that you've
Yeah.
got and now you're sitting there, your arms are jelly? Right, now let me tell you how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then you're just sitting there like you've done all your dust. So it's really important, I find, what I was doing was only handling one thing at a time. So
Yeah.
if it was the source of authority or ID, look, that's the second time I've asked you. I only come back to the thing that I'm talking about. I don't bring it to something else.
Yeah.
It's coming back to that
And this is a bit
one
of a
thing.
difference watching how you've handled this and how I handled it. I throw a lot of things at them at once
Yeah.
from all different stuff and sort of bamboozle them with, well, what about this? And what about, and can you, and
Yeah.
how about, and this? And you're very much, no, look, hang on, let's come back to here. we haven't sorted this out first, and you're asking me about this. But
Yeah.
we haven't sorted this out yet. So let's do that first, and then I'm happy to talk to you about the other stuff. So again, that's a form of conditional acceptance that you're putting in play to control and steer the conversation where you want it rather than where I wanted it.
It's the interaction first, like this, we're both men here, and then right second. Rather than I'm just trying to throw my rights at you, which is going to make you throw your legislation at me, and we've got all these papers battling, and with two men behind them both.
Yeah.
I think we really need to be, if we're going to get through this.
For you guys watching, you can't just stand there and go, I'm a living man, you dog bastard, you've got no authority. You're going to get arrested and or thrown on the floor in a second. That is not how to go about doing it. That's being very aggressive and belligerent, and you can't go around doing that. You can lead into that. You can get them to agree with that you are a living man or woman after you ask some silly questions and get the agreement.
I know a lot of people might be watching this thinking, oh, well, I wish I knew all that, but you kind of do now, because it's not more difficult than what we've just presented.